have an update on Johnny Somali, Ramsey Khalid Ismail. I hate this guy.
I could never tell that you didn't like him.
I know, honestly. I've got some great ones. So I've got Genetic Dead End. So I love that one. Personally, I think that's a great insult. Brown Golem. Love that one. Walking pile of detritus masquerading as DNA. Love that one as well. So I like coming up with insults for this guy. But yeah, Johnny Somali. Obviously, there's lots of shit going on down in South Korea at the moment, and yeah, his trial's been delayed. Obviously, as a result of everything that's going on. But that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad because obviously he's now basically stuck in South Korea. Has been in there for quite some time. Yeah, he's not able to make money from streaming either. So he's basically stuck in South Korea. Just stuck. He was going to be starting his trial, I think, in 3 days' time. It was going to be the 20th of December, if I remember rightly. So we'll scroll through some of this. This fucking nonsense here. Pause this shit. Go away. It says earlier this year, Johnny Somali came to South Korea after causing chaos in both Japan and Israel. Streamer, real name Ramsey Khalid Ismail, immediately returned to his old ways, wreaking havoc in local businesses, upsetting the country's citizens, blah, blah, blah. So he's only been charged with obstruction of business and violation of the Minor Crimes Act. He's also under investigation for numerous other allegations. Johnny Somali's trial in South Korea has now been pushed back from December to March. To March.
So, sorry,
is
he being held on what we would say held on remand? Is he sort of behind bars right now? Or is he out on bail? Or I don't know what the South Korean...
out on bail, but I think that they took his passport.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah, I mean, it would be good if he was on remand, to be honest. Like, I think he should be. But he's not able to leave the country. Like, they won't allow him to leave the country. So from December to March.
He's so dumb. He's the type of person that would try and flee as well.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. So according to a YouTube lawyer, Legal Mindset, the decision to move Somali's trial to March puts the creator in an even worse spot because he's unable to leave the country until every case against him is fully investigated, tried, or dismissed. So they've still got to do all the other stuff that they're investigating him for. Plus, even if he were to show up in court and plead guilty, he would still be stuck waiting to be sentenced, which could take another month at least. It's just comedy gold. Absolute comedy gold. Now, the funny thing is, the guy said he has, I would argue, 4 months of costs that he's got to pay, and he cannot stream. He's got to pay money, and he can't stream either. So the law explained that because Johnny Somali is not in Korea with a work visa, he could potentially risk further violations. Streaming is something that countries typically let slide because streamers are only there for a short time. However, because so much attention is on Ramsey, and he will now be there for 7 months in total, I bet Johnny was like, I'm just going to go for a quick jaunt and piss people off. 7 months later, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you're fucked. There's a legitimate argument that he needs a work visa to do any work in South Korea, including streaming. And if he receives a litigation visa in Korea, which he will likely for the period of this trial, as it is longer than the term of his visa waiver as an American, it expressly prohibits any working. So his visa is going to lapse. He's going to have to get a litigation visa, and he's unable to work on that visa. So right now, Somali... Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, the system are obviously very, very deliberately messing with him. And that's great. So. I'm here for it.
God, I hope so. I really do hope so. I really hope so. It says right now, Somali could be in a massive financial hole considering, he's got no money, very few friends, and they might not want to put up with him basically being a freeloader for 4 months. So, yeah, and the trial being moved to March is another bad thing because it means that the authorities have time to investigate all the other crimes and charge him with that as well. So that's it. Oh, the other thing, sorry. South Korea also rotates judges and prosecutors in the spring. So this trial change could also have been made to prevent having a new judge take over midway through the trial.
Oh, wow.
So, and because the prosecutor against them is got like a 90% conviction rate for obstruction of business as well. So they don't want them to be,
wow.
the prosecutor to change. So that's it. I mean, that's it basically. Thoughts? This is the good news part of the stream.
Wow.
It's just lovely, isn't it? I mean, you've got to go all the way to the Orient, the Far East, before you get a bit of actual justice. But yeah, it's great. I mean, it couldn't have happened to a better person, right? It does seem like there's a way when the establishment in almost any country, really, if they decide they want to screw with you, right? When the powers that be decide that they're just going to screw with your life and your money as much as they can, they nearly always can. And it just seems like someone somewhere in the South Korean equivalent of the Crown Prosecution Service or the district attorney, their equivalent, has decided, yeah, we're going to mess with this dude's life. Right. And it's great. It's honestly great. I love it.
Oh, this is how justice should work. Not being weaponized against natives. Yeah, no, you just like everyone else is absolute turd. No, weaponize it against them for goodness sake. That's what should be happening. I love it. I absolutely love it. Brilliant. Epic. Because
there's this idea that in a lot of most like developed countries, which South Korea certainly is, that it's almost impossible not to be, not almost impossible, that's an exaggeration, but it's kind of difficult not to be breaking the law in many senses if the law decides that it wants to screw with you. So, for example, I mean, to be fair, most people aren't breaking the law, but if they decide they just want to investigate you over some small money matter or some legal crossing the T's and dotting the I's type thing, they'll just bind you up in the process. And at the end of it all, you're acquitted and have shown to not actually done anything wrong. Well, still, they've stolen loads of your time, loads of your life, and maybe your money as well. Like quite often when they can't get real criminals on stuff. Al Capone is a classic example. Well, there's many times in the United States history where there's real organized criminals and they can't actually get any proper evidence on your crimes, but they can show that you haven't paid your taxes correctly. You didn't cross all the T's and dot all the I's, so they can get you on that. Like RICO laws, all sorts of stuff that can be done. And it just seems that they're doing that to Johnny Somali, and well,
I would say largely, but I would say largely did to himself, Bo.
Oh yeah, no, he's not innocent. Yeah. No, I'm not saying he's one of those people who's like completely innocent. And no, don't get me wrong.
Zombie box life lesson: never go full Johnny Somali.
Yeah.
That's an excellent observation.
Culture, would you reckon? Have you been following any of this? Would you reckon about
this dude's he's out of his mind. I mean, and he didn't stop doing it when they asked him to stop doing it. I'm sorry, if a government says you might want to stop doing that, and it's not your like home country that you're in, you probably want to listen to them. I mean, despite the fact that you may have gotten away with it in one place or another, that's like if they're telling you you're a problem, you believe them. Sorry. This is fool around, find out kind of territory here. And he fooled around quite a bit. And I would say he's finding out that much like what they did to Trump for the better part of 4 years after his presidency, they're doing to him. Just burying him.
I'm hoping the process isn't the punishment, right? I'm hoping he gets punished as well. I'm hoping the process is the punishment, and he gets a really harsh sentence on the back end of it. That's like it. This is a man that's never going to learn. He's never going to learn without it, ever.
Yeah, I
So
absolutely
he
agree with
deserves
that.
it.
I hope he gets a really harsh punishment as well. And again, most judicial systems can do that if they want. You know, there was the classic. I know it's going back decades, but there's the classic "let him have it" case, where a guy just said "let him have it," and someone else shot a cop, and he got the death penalty for it. Right? Or there's one recently in the UK where a guy set a fire in a trash can and got 9 years for it. And then there's other times when
a literal pedo gets
other times, for whatever reason, for political reasons and weird reasons, you do real serious crimes and you get a slap on the wrist. So it's quite often it's down to a judge or a jury, where and if you get a hanging judge, as they used to say, throws the book at him, I would just love that if he just gives him the absolute maximum. For they get him on like half a dozen little things, but each one has got a tariff of like a year or two at most, which they hardly ever actually use. But he decides to really throw the book in. That'd be funny. As Culture said, there's certain people in this world that you have to listen to and heed, right? And the courts are one of them. The police and senior members of any given government are one of them. And on top of that, there are some governments who are weak and you can mess with and are kind of toothless, are kind of paper tigers, and some that aren't. And the South Korean government is one that isn't. Right? They're badass. People think, oh, North Korea are these like throwback old school commie sort of ultra savage type people, and the South Koreans are these like more Japanese than they're like they're soft in some way. Not at all. They meet the North Koreans, they lock horns with them and meet them blow for blow at all times. And don't don't mess with the South Korean government. But Johnny Smiley obviously didn't know any of that. He obviously just didn't know.
What an absolute idiot. Epic moron.